Hello friends, Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time. And I'm going to try to get this video done out here as soon as I can while it's quiet and there's no planes flying overhead. We'll try. But anyway, today I'm going to be talking about Calendula officinalis and why I grow it and the many benefits of it. So first of all, it's just a beautiful flower, and I'll be showing pictures all through this video that you can see. But here are the few I picked today, and they're not all opened up yet because it's still morning. They tend to open up later in the day, closer to afternoon. But I had a few that were open, so I wanted you to just be able to see them together in just some of the different colors that they come in. They predominantly come in orange and yellow, but even in amongst that they come in several different shades of orange and yellow. And then the pink one, as I've shown in other videos, is a new one to my garden, and I just love it. And that is thanks to Shadell over at Delectable Mountains. And if you haven't checked out her channel yet, I'm going to go ahead and link to it right up here. I recommend that you check her out. She's just a wonderful lady, has lots of great stuff. And if you're a vegan or considering going vegan, she's got a lot of great information on that. Anyway, on to the topic about calendula. So today I'll be reading a little bit out of the Prepper's Natural Medicine. I try to pick a different book every time I read out of an herb book. But first I'm going to start off with the notes that I compiled from various different sites, websites, YouTube videos, and so on, and picked out the things that I found most common, because sometimes you got to look at all of them, because sometimes you'll see some things that don't match up with others. But if you see a consistency all the way across the board, looking in also Wikipedia even, and other places, in just seeing getting a good rounded look at all of that, and then comparing it to what your books say, then you can have a pretty good idea of what things you can find that you can depend on when it comes to your medicinal herbs. So calendula is a marigold, but it is different than the common marigold you see growing. The leaves are very different. They're smooth and more rounded, unlike the regular marigold that has a whole bunch of little smaller leaves, and it looks almost fern-like. So the calendula is going to have far more, at least from what I understand and what I've learned, has far more medicinal value to it than the common marigold, though the marigold does have its own medicinal values. Now, another big difference between the calendula and the common marigold is when it comes to flavor. Both are edible. However, the taste of a marigold flower, it's the flowers that we use, is very bitter. I personally don't care for the flavor of it, but the calendula has a much sweeter taste, making it a better choice for using in teas and cooking with. You can add it to stews and salads and all kinds of things. I've even used it in adding to different breads that I make, from biscuits to pancakes to tortillas even. In fact, I think the video I did a while back on how to make your own homemade tortillas, I think in that one I used calendula flowers. I'll go ahead and link to that right up here. Now let me go over the properties, the medicinal properties of the calendula flower. So the properties are anti-inflammatory, antibiotic, antibacterial, antidepressant, antiparasitic, antifungal, and soothing. And when I say soothing, that's to many parts of the body, both internally and externally. So let's go on and talk a little bit more about some specific things. So as far as women's health, it's very good at helping to regulate a woman's menstrual cycle and relieving cramps. It's even good for easing hot flashes, which this was a new one to me. Now, I found the eggshells and all that works great, but there's many other herbs out there, but I didn't realize until I started researching it yet again, because I always research again before I do these videos, that the calendula is also good at easing hot flashes. So I'm going to be also adding that to my blend that I'm coming up with for a menopausal related tea. Or it's actually going to be more of a tea that's just for all ladies, whether they're in menopause, post-menopause, or are just dealing with the monthly deal. So one thing I do want to say, though, while I'm thinking about it, is if you're pregnant, calendula is not the choice for you, because because of how it works in the uterus and stuff. It could result in a possible miscarriage. So it's something that you need to avoid during pregnancy. And also avoid if you're on medications, specifically medications for diabetes and I think hypertension, I think is the other one. And that's going to be common. You're going to find that any medicinal herbs where you have to be most careful is if you're on any type of medication. That's why it's best if you're able to go off your medication and go for a more natural means of taking care of whatever your health issues are, then you're going to be far more open to be able to use more of the medicinal herbs. Now, another thing it's really good for is helping with digestive problems. It's good at healing ulcers, soothing and protecting the stomach lining and the intestines, and it's just very good for the whole thing. And I would venture to guess, so I didn't look heavily into it, that it would also be good for other gut-related issues. And so I think, considering the fact that it is also antifungal and antibacterial and anti-inflammatory, any inflammation that you have in your gut, this is going to be helpful. And we know that a lot of our health issues are coming from our gut. And this is just another wonderful herb that you can add to your collection, and it's beautiful. It's just so lovely in the garden. The one thing it's known most for is its benefits to skin health. And so this is why it's commonly used in salves and infused oils that you use on your skin, whether it be for healing or just using as a skin cream. It is known for helping boost collagen production. So you can imagine it's also going to help with younger skin, keeping your skin from aging quite so quickly. And it is also one of the reasons why I use it in my skin cream. So I make my own infused oil from my own organically grown calendula, and then from that I make my skin cream. And I will go ahead and post to the skin cream video up here. I'll be doing an updated oil infusion video soon, but I do have a video on that as well that's already out, and I'll link to it up here. Some of the other things in particular for skin health, it's very soothing again, but good at helping speeding up healing for any kind of thing from cuts to bruises, scrapes, scratches, eczema, burns. Calendula is also good for helping ease pain for any kind of skin irritation that you have. So I'm not sure how well it would work with shingles. I didn't look into that. But if you're suffering with shingles, that might be something you want to look into. At least I would think taking it internally would be helpful. Now here's another thing about making a calendula tea and drinking it, is that it's also very detoxifying to the body. And I'm going to start doing more calendula tea. I grow lots and lots of calendula, and I dehydrate up most of it. I use a lot of it fresh as well, and every year I try to grow more and more, and the more I learn about it, the more I want to grow it, just like the marshmallow. Two of my top favorite herbs in my garden are the marshmallow and the calendula, and I promise I will make that video that I forgot to do earlier about my top 10, maybe 15 medicinal and herbs for health and all that kind of stuff. I'll make a video on that, the ones that I recommend. A lot of these are going to be more area specific. Now some people may not always be able to grow them all, but I think when it comes to calendula, it's one of those things you can grow just about anywhere. It's very non-picky, and it's a very hardy flower, and it can bloom if you live in a moderate climate. It can bloom all year round, and it can be an annual or a perennial. And a couple other things it is good for is helping to soothe sore throats. There's that word soothing again. You're going to find that just about in every area that you can use it. And for relaxing the muscles. And this was another new one to me, so I was really excited to learn about this, because sometimes when things get really stressful, I tend to pick up tension in my shoulders. And the valerian root helps me a lot with that. It's not something I enjoy the smell of, and I don't like to take it on a regular basis. Valerian root is one of those things you got to kind of limit how much you use and not take it for too long a period of time. So it was beneficial for me to read that. I'm just, very thrilled to know that it's helped to relaxing muscles. So some of the other ways you can use it besides making it as a tea, if you want to use it topically, I did mention, making the infused oil, but another thing you could do is make the tea and turn that into a poultice and put that on your wounds. and whatever. And then some other ways you can use it. I already mentioned baking with it, but you can also eat them raw. They're tasty enough just to eat straight off. Just pick the flower and eat it if you want, if you enjoy the flavor. Now, where a lot of the medicinal properties come from is the resin that you'll find in the flower. So once the flower opens up all the way, that's when you want to harvest it. And you will notice as you pick them, you'll get this sticky kind of residue on your fingers. That's the resin. It's the same, it's very similar to what you'll find when harvesting rosemary. And that's where you're going to find a good amount of your medicinal properties. You got all those flavonoids in there and so many other great things that are in that, and just highly, highly recommended. I can't say anything bad about the calendula, though, other than the warnings about, you know, pregnancy, if you're on medication, and also if you're allergic to things like chamomile and stuff like that, you may want to, it may not be for you. So allergies is the other thing you have to watch out for. Now I'm going to read just a little section out of Kat Ellis's book here. Okay, so I'm just going to read a couple little paragraphs out of her section. The whole section isn't very long. She already goes through a lot of the things that I spoke about here. And of all the medicinal books as far as price, this is going to be your most frugal one that you can get, and it's still a really, really great book. And so I will be linking this below, as well as the other medicinal herb books that I have, so that you can check them out for yourselves. So I'll start from here. I'll just read through this whole paragraph, this whole section on uses. So calendula is used as a tincture or a tisane for throat and oral ailments. It is an important addition to mouthwashes and rinses for mouth sores and sore throats. In a compress, calendula can help bring down a fever. It also makes a soothing compress for the eyes, especially to relieve conjunctivitis. Now this is great because, see, this is saying some things that I didn't find in other websites, but I trust Kat Ellis. I've followed her for a while. She's got some good information on herbs, and she uses these things. However, calendula is most known for its skin protective properties. It is excellent for all antifungal creams, especially those intended for diaper rash. Calendula is great in any salve for bug bites, scratches, itchiness, scrapes, and burns. Sometimes, no matter how often you change a baby's diaper, those little tushies still end up with a diaper rash. Although my son had no issues with this, my daughter did. No amount of vigilance would completely prevent a diaper rash. The only relief she got was from the calendula cream, so thick that it was almost a paste. This potent antifungal cream took a lot of tweaking to get just right. It can easily be adapted for other fungal infections, and then she has a recipe to that in here. So I wanted just to read that because I love reading how in books like this where people will share their own personal experience in using these different things. Now for me, though I've used it in cooking and baking, I find the most health benefits and where I've used it is for my skin. And I love my skin cream, and I use it for not just my face, I use it on my lips, I use it on my hands, my feet, my knees, my elbows, or any place where I feel I need that little extra boost of healing or helping with dryness. I tend to have very dry skin, especially when I'm out in the garden. My hands tend to get cracked and stuff, and the skin cream has helped them. They've just been doing so much better, even with all the work I do in the garden, with me not getting so much cracked skin. You know what I'm talking about, where you know, that cracks and it aches. I have not been getting those this year. It still gets dry, but if I keep up on it, it's really helped. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed this video and that you learned something new. Thanks for watching. Take care, and God bless.